Okay. Um, okay. So I'm gonna keep all of this in because this is the first video, so I just want to capture it honestly. Anyhow, moving forward. So like this is the okay. I'm gonna start over again. I don't like that one bit. Um, So this is the Mediocre Dev channel. I am a mediocre dev, and I'm attempting not to be so mediocre. Why this channel? So over the last few weeks, I've been using Claude Code and Augment Task, like the Augment Code utility, and it's absolutely like blown my mind. I recently started using Claude Squad. I don't know if you know what that is, but essentially like if you can manage a bunch of agents all at once, they instantiate their own branching, and then you can commit. They'll raise PRs. You can merge them as you see fit, and it's been just like a huge. I can't really put it to words just how in some ways freeing, in some ways chaotic, but nonetheless it's like a huge change, right? And in the past, due to like the taboo nature of using these tools, I would kind of like scoff and laugh it off. But after using these for a period of time, I'm kind of like quite amazed by these tools, and now I'm in a zone where like I want to improve. Like I have to get better at these tools with these tools, and I have to be able to like build and produce so much more, so much faster, because that's kind of where the industry is going, right? If you want to, ensure that you have a career, if there is a career to have in a handful of years, then you simply just have to improve your overall ability as well as your ability to produce, right? That's essentially what it comes down to. To what degree can you improve your output, both quality and quantity, right? So what does this mean? Like what is the attempt to not be so mediocre? What does that entail really? I want to have like an end-to-end. I want to have AI in my stack end-to-end, from my editor to testing to PR reviews to ideation. I want some tool, find a bunch of tools in every position in my stack to be able to build really fast. I want to improve my production velocity essentially, right? How quickly can I produce things is the goal here. I have a goal that within 6 months, essentially the end of the year, I'll be able to produce a mid-sized project. Think of like a mobile app that supports deep linking, externalized configuration, daily bundle deployments, payments, logging chats, and a number of other features in 72 hours or less for any idea that I have, right? I just want to be able to go from ideation to end product that works, that people can use, that functions. People might not want it, but it works, right? Right now, that's not the case, but my interactions with these tools have like really changed my, I wrote my ever-loving mind, because they really have. These tools are like quite remarkable, and if you're not using them, you're kind of making a mistake. It just it's becoming more so like you don't really write the code. You essentially define the guardrails, and you let the uh, you let the model kind of do everything else, which is kind of it's it's quite scary, but it's freeing. I can't really put it to words just quite yet. I'm really just kind of gearing up my usage of these tools. Like a few years ago when GitHub Copilot, first emerged, it was essentially like, auto, like next word completion. And I could always type fast enough for it. I just didn't really need it. Love my, Vim short keys and all, but this is like a fundamental shift in terms of like you can't out type the work of a model when you can just define a task and have it go execute it. You can and managing like multiple agents at the same time. It's yeah, you really can't type your way out of that. So how do I do this? I want to pick my tools and stack to get more comfortable. I've been doing that these last few days. It's essentially going to be, as I've researched this, has slimmed down quite a bit. Essentially, it's going to be TypeScript, Convex, React Native, React. I'm not going to use AWS Lambdas or the gateway. I defined a bunch of scripts to make that process easier, but with the utilities of Convex, AWS Lambda and gateway just seems pointless, especially when you consider like Convex, for those that don't know, Convex is a SaaS product, backend as a service. They have this like they have these functions that you can define within their DB that you can deploy similar to Next.js, but these like Next.js also deploy to the edge automatically, so do these. But I think Convex and the way they've written it is like really, really sweet. You don't they've built a system that you can essentially live inside, and that's quite remarkable. So I'm willing to bet the next few years on Convex in terms of my stack. Also, every decision I made here is something that I can use for the next like 6 years, like next 5 to 6 years. Obviously, the future is unknown. Who knows if anything exists in 5 to 6 years, right? But for now, I think these are the tools that I'm going to use. React, AWS, Lambda, and Gateway is gone. Post-hog, I'll use EAS, Expo, Application Service, I think it stands for, Clerk, Stripe. I think there was some question around like I researched into Polar. Polar just doesn't have the feature depth and quantity and documentation that I'm looking for. But Stripe has that in spades, so I'm going to use Stripe. I'm going to use Amazon's SCS service if I want to deliver emails or messages. S3, I'm not going to use S3. I'm going to use Convex. So S3 is gone. Convex stores files. I'm not. These are very small projects. If I ever need to scale, then I'll pivot to S3. But chances are I won't need to, so everything can live inside X3. Expo push for mobile push notifications. This is something that I want. Yeah. So step two is going to be like building a bunch of very small, tiny like chat app projects, a bunch of Chrome extensions. I'm building one currently. Mobile app with a counter that you pay for, a mobile bidding app, a video part like a video web video parsing YouTube packing app. So essentially, like you could insert video and it'll generate thumbnail, image, caption, description, right? Not too difficult, very simple, right? Um, well, nothing here, I guess. Um, yeah, so very small apps that essentially just allow me to get comfortable with some of the tools in my stack. Step three is I'm going to be building some templates with the majority of the features that I want integrated. So essentially, I want to build like a web application that has Stripe, that has Clark, that has Convex, everything integrated all at once, and then I can build something in 48 hours or less. Right now, I'm working on a bunch of like Lua scripts that essentially allow me to like build a web application. It essentially instantiates the Next.js app with a particular TypeScript version, uh, Tailwind, kind of you know defines what kind of imports, uh, all that kind of stuff. And then it also instantiates a convex server. It instantiates a Clark instance, like a Clark project. I don't know exactly what the term would be, but everything gets wrapped immediately. So like I can just press one command and everything is wired, and then I can just go. And I can just build and define my schema and then build my project, right? And most of the user specific interactions are already taken care of by Clark and Convex. There are some secondary actions in terms of like saving user information to Convex as well if you want to enrich it a little bit more. So that's also taken care of as part of like the template. Um, yeah, I was looking into like some of the APIs you define in Convex. You also want like rate limiting. So I was looking at Upstash. Not necessary. Convex offers rate limiting off like for free. So why not just use it? Again, they really define such a cohesive system that you can just live inside Convex. You don't really need to leave. Okay, so step four is I want to get to the point where I can build a like mid-scale application similar to the one that I've defined in a week. And then after that, I want to deliver mid-scale apps in less than 72 hours. So I'll give myself a 3-day timeline, and then I should be able to build whatever it is I want quickly. 72 hours and like seems like a lot considering how fast people are going now. But I think the applications that I want to build are a little bit larger. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 72 hours is the right amount. Maybe I can do it in less. We'll see. One thing that I am sure about is that the 6 month timeline that I've given myself, I think I could do it in four, like end of October-ish. I just want to remain a bit cautious because I'm excited right now, but that's going to wane over time. For videos, excuse me, I want to drop like a sub 4 minute video per day, just cataloging my progress. That's going to be the goal, but we'll see. By end of year, I want to look back and say I can build any app that I want in less than 72 hours. At least the kind of apps I want that like, I have in my head right now. Um, yeah. And the end goal being, of course, an awesome AI fused workflow. So from ideation to build, to test, deploy, to launch, and verify in less than 2 hours. One thing that I've come to believe to be true is that the value in building the thing is less than the song thing. I think there was a period that where that wasn't true, like the non-technical founder stigma that existed. Like if you go back to 2018 or 2017, I think that is quickly changing where the person who can sell it is far more valuable. I know that's the case in most industries, but for tech especially, there was like a almost a prestige associated with the person who could build, and that's just like fundamentally shifted. I don't think that anybody there's some caveats of course, but in most regards I think like especially with at the application layer I think that's definitely like demystified and gone. Like I don't think you'll you'll see people who are like I can build tooling that like meaningful tooling that are not software engineers, but like outside of like core technical things when it comes to like things related to consumer or SaaS. I think that, and that's what majority of, I don't want to say majority, but that's what uh, uh, that's what's worked over the last like decade in terms of like notoriety and covering like the headline of Hacker News or whatever was a SaaS product or something to that effect, right? And that's definitely changed. So that's it. This is like the first thing. I'll catalog my progress. My goal is to publish a Chrome extension this week. So it'll be in production, and I'll talk about it here. After that, there's a bunch of ideas. Maybe it'd be good to just maybe talk through some of those ideas. I don't exactly know where I put those. Did I put them in thoughts? Ooh, I did. Hey, we could look at that. So a sidebar extension that allows you to quickly generate shortcuts. Oh, I really like that idea. Yeah. I'm a shortcuts guy. Vimium Z, if you use that on Chrome, it's really great. But there's some like extensions that I want. Like Chrome already has this ability too, but it's like it's not quick enough for me to get there and then make the shortcut configuration and save and then do all of that, right? I just want a simple like press a button, create a shortcut, move on with my life. That's essentially yeah. So I'm gonna be doing that. Chrome extension. So chat with an AI model via sidebar on Chrome. Pick your model of choice. Start a conversation. Allow users to private API keys for whichever one they prefer. This already exists. I understand that, but I think it would be good to kind of learn how to do this myself. And there's also a secondary one that I'm building. This is the one that's happening right now. Again, this also exists like a YouTube sidebar, summarize videos, and display summarize button on all videos so as to not waste your time with an overlay. This doesn't make a lot of sense, but essentially like there's a summarize button on YouTube from Google. However, they do not have that same feature on like the YouTube homepage, which is like when you click on the video, you want to go ahead and like click on summarize, but you're already at the video, and if you have like a brain rot brain like myself, then you're gonna watch the video. You can interact with it slightly, but more than likely you're gonna watch the video unless you're motivated not to. But if the summary button appears on the home screen, then chances are you're not really gonna watch the video. You're just gonna have summarized and then move forward, right? So that's kind of the idea there. YouTube Video Package Manager. I think there's already people. Again, this already exists. Most of these ideas exist, but the goal is like get comfortable with the tooling so that we can go faster in the future for perhaps ideas that are a little bit more niche. So provide a video and we'll generate the thumbnail and transcript and post to social media apps. This requires a handful of integrations, obviously some API calls, and maybe the use of Open Router. Actually, I don't know if Open Router works that way. We'll see. So that's essentially it. The goal here again is to get to a place where we can publish something in 72 hours, something really, really fast that's good, and get comfortable with shipping more than I ever have because it's possible today. So thank you and see you later.